Hi guys, this is the Idaho Picker. Going to get right back with part 3. The Super Bowl actually just started 7 minutes, or excuse me, yeah, 7 minutes ago. So the Super Bowl was in play. So I'm going to continue to post my videos tonight. I've got this one and maybe one more that I'm going to be posting reference to the Super Bowl and the potential of what could go wrong there. I've been studying a lot of things for quite a long time, and some people might say that that my fruitcake has too many nuts. Problem is that I have is that, or you could call it a problem, because it sure feels like it sometimes, but I am wide awake. My fruitcake is just fine. Now, what I wanted to do was I wanted to go ahead and continue on, showing you where we left off, and going through some more information here for you. Okay, and when this left off, I was talking to you about the location of this area here on the maps. Okay, the area that's referenced as being Louisiana. All the words on the left over there: grouper, flounder, mackerel, minnow, cod, sailfish, marlin. All those are fish that you can catch in the Gulf of Mexico, right at Louisiana. The arrows in this particular instance are pointing to Gay Street. Gay Street is Bourbon Street in Louisiana, and I demonstrated that, and that in fact, if you run a search for gay bars in Louisiana, New Orleans specifically, you're going to find out that they are right there, the Bourbon Street French Quarter area. I was showing you that the location that I was pointing out on the map as well has a World Trade Center in New Orleans, which I didn't know exists, and lots of Illuminati symbolism there. And then I wanted to take you and show you just a couple more things, well actually quite a few more things, one of which is on the far right hand side there. You can see the World Trade Center, where it's located at in New Orleans, and then over to the left, far left, you can see the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, and you can see right there the other arrow on the left pointing to Liberty. Liberty is interesting to be there because of the fact that the Twin Towers, the street that ran right beside the Twin Towers, was also Liberty Street. You can see Dave Dixon Drive. If you look into Dave Dixon, the history and the conspiracies behind that, you'll find out that it appears that he was murdered. Okay, and one thing we're going to get into here in it is that the Mercedes Superdome is built on an ancient graveyard, one of the first graveyards that was ever in New Orleans, and I'm going to demonstrate the facts on that. If you look at a lot of the streets that are down here, they are the same street names that you will find in places like New York City, and they are the same street names that you'll find on that Batman map that some people think is silly, right? So let's continue on here. I want to show you this here. It was an interesting find down there in Louisiana. This is just, the Superdome itself is just to the left across the river there, and on this side of the river here, you'll notice that there is an old Aurora. Of course, Aurora, Colorado, ring a bell? Okay, and does Holmes ring a bell? Holmes Boulevard ring a bell? It should. And if you look into the words Newton and Algiers, that they also are tied as well to the Aurora and and of course Sandy Hook, Newton, and other things. You know, anything's a coincidence, but can they all be all here? I mean, what are chances? You know, if you think this is a coincidence, or all this stuff showing you is a coincidence, well, you have the right to think that. You know, I think it's my job to present information, and you make your own decision. Okay. Now, if you look here also, this is depicting the China Basin area of Louisiana. If you can see the largest arrow pointing downward there on the screen, which I can point out for you here, you will notice that that's pointing to Basin Street. What all the little red dot areas are is if you want to find Chinese food in Louisiana, you're going to have to go to this area of town. And there is a Basin Street there. On the Batman map, there was a China Basin located in the area that I'm referring to, because what I'm doing here is showing you that this place exists. Okay, China Basin is just down to the very lower part. Actually, I can show you using this one a little better. China Basin is right here. It's all in this section of the strike 3 with the circle outlining what probably represents the border of what they are representing to be Louisiana, which Louisiana is represented in this area and here. I showed you that all these street names that are on this map right here, particularly in this section right here, are all, I could find them all in New Orleans. Okay, now let's continue on. Right? Okay, I showed you that. And back to this one here, China Basin. This is China Basin. If you look up the words China and Basin, it's going to bring you right here in New Orleans. Okay, if you look it up on Google. Now I'm gonna have to thank my brother Dabu7 for putting this one actually together. And what this is this is the Eye of Ra. If you remember in my first video in this series, in part 1, I pointed out that the Illuminati, who they praise or worship, is Ra. Ra is the Eye of Ra. It represents the sun. You're going to see some more tie-ins to that. Do you see the Eye of Ra? Take this image on the right here in your mind and turn it to the left. See the eyeball here? Okay. See the eyebrow here? Okay. See all the little quirlies and swirlies and everything? This is the Eye of Ra. Just one more little hint to stack in the pile, right? Now I'm going to give you a little history on New Orleans. See this location you're looking at here? This was the original settlement in 1798 of New Orleans. And if you look at all the names and all that, you'll see real quick that it isn't that hard to find names that match up with exactly where this spot is at in New Orleans, and I'm going to show that to you. One of the things I wanted to point out, what you're seeing, because I've studied it enough, what you're seeing is a fort, an old military type fort. Okay, and each one of these corners is considered a fort, like Fort St. John, Fort St. I can't even read that one, Fort Burgundy, and so on. And also over here on the left was the original cemetery for New Orleans. Now where is this located at? Okay, it is located here, right on the end of this river. This is the original location that you're looking at. The original graveyard in question is right here. That is the first graveyard. It's right off the back of right here. See that? See it on the left there? And see it right here. If I zoom into that, that is a huge graveyard. Just to the left of that, over here, is the Superdome. Okay? That's how close this is. That's how sacred of ground this whole area is. It was the original settlement. Okay? Now, let me show you something about the Superdome itself and why I think also it ties back into the map, the Batman map, right? If you notice, you have, and I've mentioned this before in one other video I believe, but if you notice, you'll see the Superdome is one big circle, and then there's another building down below that's, let's call it an oval building, okay? And of course I have the street Liberty circled here for you. And then you can see the Eye of Ra off to the left there. And keep in mind, you got the circle and the oval. Okay? Let's take a look at a few things. Now, if you go back in history and you look at Batman maps that have been created in the past, you can find the stadium, their stadium, you see it right there almost in the center of the screen, right above the word OOGLA. Okay, and this is one of the original Batman maps back when it was a cartoon, right, and a magazine. And if you come forward in time and look at other Batman maps that have been created about Gotham City, you will notice that the oval or the circle is just there. So see here, you got one circle. Come a little newer, you got another single circle. Okay, you come a little newer, and all of a sudden the oval building shows up, right? It's quite interesting that the oval building showed up. They added an oval one, just like in New Orleans. Now, another image I wanted to show you is this. I've shown it once before, and that is this is on another Gotham City map, the most recent one, the newest that exists, and it is a matching map of the one that is in the Batman movie. Okay, except for there's a couple little differences. The one thing they added for some reason is this symbol that you're looking at. It's a symbol of what I believe to represent the Aurora, Colorado. This is a projection camera, kind of tilted. Okay, up here at the top, this is a microscope, and that represents Virginia Tech, the false flag that took there. This square, I think it simply represents Sandy Hook. Okay, down at the bottom down here, I'll let my screen clear. What that represents there is the Hoover Dam. Now, I've been concerned all along that there could be multiple disasters tied into what they are up to next. Whether it's today, no one really knows. I don't know for sure, and I'll be fine with egg on my face tomorrow, because this ain't about ego. This ain't about money for me. I do this for nothing, and hopefully you can appreciate the fact that I spend time and research. Now, what you see on the up in the middle on the right with the big yellow arrow here is a field goal post, right? And you got to turn your head to the right, of course, but the field goal post is broken. Well, we got a big game today, don't we? And this could be the field goal post they're referring to. Well, let's go ahead and move on to a really different subject. Earlier I talked about the poetry of Edgar Allan Poe, right? And I talked about Lenore, and I asked you to remember her, remember the name. And then I was going to come back and show you some more stuff about Lenore. And this is Lenore. This is an old image of her ascending. And notice the broken bowl. And notice what it says. It says, "Ah, broken is the golden bowl." Well, the golden bowl is today's bowl, the Super Bowl. Fun. We have a team playing. We have the golden colors that you will be seeing, and I thought this was an interesting reference. Now, the guy that drew this picture had no idea, but they employed it and used it. It appears for some symbology purposes, if that's a word. Now let's go ahead and move on here. I want to show you the poem about Lenore. Ah, broken is the golden bowl, the spirit flown forever. Let the bell toll. Okay, I already talked about what the golden bowl represents, and the bell is the bells ringing and the things that are going on there in the Super Bowl. It says a saintly soul floats. Well, they're playing at the home of the saints, right? And floats on the Stygian River. And Gadi Ver, which is a French word that, and if you know anything about Louisiana and New Orleans, it is deeply embedded French history there, and Masonic history, as a matter of fact, as well. Hast thou no tear? Now you can pause this and read it, but I'm running out of time for this part of my video. I've got some amazing stuff still to show you, come and join me for some more logic before authority.